We can all agree 2020 was a crap year. Particularly for my 29M family. We lost our dad at the beginning of the year after he had a heart attack, and my little brother, 12, had no one to take care of him. Our mom died when he was 3, so our dad was all we had left. I fought for custody and was appointed his legal guardian. Honestly, it hasn't been easy. We're still adjusting to these life changes, and my brother is taking it the hardest. For months he was just not himself. Bad attitude, lashing out. I got him in therapy because I knew he was just hurting, plus the stress of the pandemic. His behavior has improved so much since then, even if sometimes there's days where he's withdrawn. Days before Christmas he was feeling sad since it was our first holiday without Dad. That day, he asked to be left alone. We had a talk to discuss his feelings, and I gave him his space after that. My girlfriend was over that day, and I went out to buy groceries. When I got back, my brother was out of his room and helping out. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Yesterday my brother and I were out having some guy time before going back home to get ready for NYE. My brother opened up about how grateful he is for everything, and he hopes that I don't change my mind about taking care of him. I asked why he'd think that, and he told me what happened. That day when I was out, my GF went to his room to tell him he needs to change his attitude and stop moping, her exact words, because he should be grateful I'm taking care of him at all. And that we can still hand him over to the state if we wanted to. I was furious about this, and had to reassure him that was never gonna happen because he really was worried about it. We went home, I confronted my GF, and she didn't deny it. She told me it's true, and there was nothing wrong with telling him to stop acting like that when he should be grateful I gave up my life to take care of him. And the thing about giving him up isn't that big of a deal to her because it's not like I'll actually do it. I said she still scared him with that threat and told her to leave my apartment because honestly, I was far too mad and because I didn't want her to be near him right now. She started crying, there was more fighting, but she left in the end. It was just me and my brother for New Year's. Since last night I've been bombarded with calls from all our friends kicking her out, knowing she has no family and nobody else to spend the holiday with. Everyone has sided with her, and even my best friend says I may have overreacted by making her leave when she probably thought she was helping. They've heard my side of the story, but still think I was a butt for making her cry and spending the new year alone. I'm having trouble seeing how I could be, so here I am looking for internet strangers to weigh in on this. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. In what world are you the arse in this scenario? Time to get new friends to go along with a new girlfriend cause none of the current ones sound up to snuff. NTA at all, you are protecting your brother, a vulnerable child whose only stability is you now. Comment 2. I'd bet money the friends are the kind of AHs who think OP was more fun before he took in his brother. They probably think GF was right to finally say something because they're all immature, selfish, and only interested in having a good time. NTA and OP is a far better human than any of them. Comment 3. Actually, I gotta say, ESH. You both acted like a-holes. Did you even talk to your girlfriend about what was going on in your mind when you took on the responsibility for your brother? Because it sounds like she's confused and you didn't communicate. She took it too far, obviously, so I don't think I need to explain why she's an a-hole, but I have known so many people who've used this method to get through to someone before. Update from original poster. Okay, while this has gotten a ton of feedback. Thanks everyone for your kind and encouraging words. I might not have replied to a lot of the comments that made me smile, but just know that I read and appreciate them. I know I only posted this a few hours ago, but I've had a day to clear my head and really think about this. I talked to my brother because I wanted to know if she said anything else to him. Thankfully she hasn't, and we had another serious chat to remind him everything she told him is completely false. I would never in a million years give him up, and that shouldn't have been put in his head. Another thing I told him was that I'm grateful he's here with me. Without him I wouldn't have made it through the year, and I thanked him for giving me that strength to keep going. Someone who DM'd me suggested reassuring him that he's not somehow ruining my life in case he feels any guilt for what she told him. Thank you for that suggestion. Now, I know you were all waiting on this news. Yes, I did break up with her. Thinking about what a lot of you said, talking to my brother about how this made him feel, and my own thoughts about how badly she acted, I decided that's not someone I want around me or him. I can't risk her doing something like this again and ruining any progress he makes in therapy. I know many of you think I should have done it on the spot, but I wanted to make this decision with a clear head and not when my emotions were extremely high. She came by my place earlier, and we talked outside. Her reaction was as bad as you'd expect, and she still believed she did nothing wrong, even after I explained it all to her. There was just no making her understand, and I told her it was over. I gave her a couple of her things that were lying around my apartment, and she left. My phone started going off like an hour later, so I had to put it on Do Not Disturb. That's all the drama I could handle for one night. I'll deal with my friends some other time. Honestly, I'm exhausted. Mentally and emotionally drained right now. I think this weekend we'll do something to get our minds off this. I definitely need it after everything, and I know my brother does too. It's been a hard year already without all this extra drama. Anyways, sorry for the really long update, you guys, but I didn't want to leave anyone hanging. I'm sure more comments will keep coming. I probably won't be sleeping much tonight, so I'll keep my mind busy by reading and replying to more of you. Thanks again for the support. What a crappy way to start the new year, but here's hoping for better things, smiley face. My daughter called me horrible because I refused to walk her down the aisle, and what she told my family put me in shock. I am 49, have two daughters, Marie, 27, and Julie, 23. For context, Julie is not my biological daughter since I married my current wife when she was only 2, and since her dad was absent I adopted her as my own, but I love both my daughters the same. This being said, I am closer to Julie since she has and still lives with us, and we do almost everything together. Instead, Marie is closer to her mom, mainly because her mom got full custody of her, and has never lived with me. Now, to the main issue. Julie got engaged about a year ago and immediately asked me to walk her down the aisle. I of course agreed and have actively helped her with the planning of the wedding, which is scheduled for October 2022. A couple of weeks ago Marie asked me to go grab some coffee with her and let me know she's currently pregnant and will soon get married. To be honest, this got me off guard since I didn't even know she had a boyfriend. She apparently will have quite a fast wedding since she doesn't want to show too much, meaning her wedding will be in 3 months. She says it'll be a small ceremony and asks me to walk her down the aisle. I felt weird about it since I don't even know her fiancé and it's all so sudden, so I asked her to let me think about it. It seemed like this answer surprised her, but she understood. I then went home and let my wife and daughter know, and Julie asked me to please decline since she wanted to be the first to be walked down the aisle, and since she asked first, thinks that I have a stronger commitment to her. I agreed since this is more of an us thing rather than an after though like Marie's wedding. I then sent a message to Marie letting her know of my decision with a brief explanation, and even offered options like her mom or stepdad to walk with her. I also reassured her that I'd still be with her there and support her with anything. She almost immediately called me crying and told me how much of a horrible father I am, and how I apparently have always played favorites, which hurt me since it's simply not true. I love them both. I tried to explain my reasoning, but she said it doesn't matter and doesn't care about my excuses. She ended up hanging up, and my ex has been sending me tons of texts berating me and calling me names. Now word has spread to some family members and they are calling me a deadbeat and trash, but my wife and daughter agree that my decision is the only fair one and shouldn't be pressured into doing something I don't want. I'm starting to feel guilty, but I'm honestly unsure, AITA, for refusing to walk my daughter down the aisle. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1, YTA. You should be walking them both down the aisle instead of just picking one over the other. Julie wanting to be the first to be walked down the aisle is frankly a ridiculous request, and if you explained that as your reasoning to your daughter, no wonder she was crying down the phone. Comment 2, Julie just sounds wildly spoiled. Makes me wonder if that has something to do with why Maria didn't mention her boyfriend beforehand. It's not fair. The only relationship that matters is mine. I don't want the spotlight taken from me, so you can't introduce anyone to mom and dad. Julie. Comment 3. This is going to be an incredibly unpopular verdict, but NTA. If Marie couldn't be bothered to introduce you to your future SIL at some point before now, or even mention that she was in a relationship at all, then you walking her down the aisle obviously can't mean that much to her. You mentioned in your post that it seemed like an afterthought, and it does. Original poster reply. I don't know what to do now. These comments have really opened my eyes on how horrible I was to my daughter. I feel like I've been oblivious to several things I did and allowed to happen. I feel like the worst there is, and I don't even know if there's room to fix it. I'll try to reach out to her, but after reading your opinions, I doubt she'll accept, and I'd totally get it. I'm devastated cause my fiancée went to my work and publicly uninvited my good friend from our wedding, and now she lost her job. Recently I, 25M, got engaged to my amazing fiancée, 24F, Amy. I was the happiest I have ever been when Amy said yes and was nothing but excited for our wedding. We started planning the venues, the dates, and the invites. When talking about who to invite, we both agreed to invite our coworkers as we have worked in our respective jobs for years and like them all. As I checked that off the list, Amy spoke up and said everyone from my job can come except my work friend Tally, 26F. Tally is also one of my close friends, so this surprised me that Amy didn't want to invite her. She has met Tally multiple times, and there didn't seem to be any issues. When I asked why, she said she just doesn't like her and finds our friendship uncomfortable, saying she thinks that Tally is the type of person to try to sway taken men and be the center of attention. After talking some more to see where she got this idea, it turned out this was based on nothing but Tally's looks, as even Amy admitted that Tally is always very kind to her. But still, Amy is adamant about Tally not going and said that she makes her insecure. Amy is a beautiful woman, so I don't know why she feels this way. I told Amy that if it makes her feel comfortable not having Tally at the wedding, then that is fine, but before invitations go out I wanted to speak to her privately to let her know to save embarrassment. Amy agreed, and that was really that. We didn't speak on the matter after. A week or so later, I went into work and Tally started to ignore me, only really talking if it was work related. I was confused, as it isn't just her, our coworkers have started to ignore her and are acting strange to me. So I contacted her BF, only for him to be sarcastic on the phone. I asked what the problem was when he asked if I actually didn't know what happened. He then filled me in. Turned out a few days earlier Amy came to my work on my day off with invitations. I had no idea she even made them yet, and handed everyone an invite in front of Tally, then saying to Tally, "You aren't invited, women like you aren't welcome," which has sparked everyone suggesting she is my other woman. Since then she has been harassed by some guys at work and shunned by the women. She is now looking for another job. This pissed me off and I apologized profusely, as I didn't know. When I got home that night I confronted Amy about this. She denied it at first, but then told me she did it, but it is now not an issue because she's quitting her job. I flipped on her, saying how she clearly didn't trust me to say, and that she crossed a line doing all this behind my back. She didn't see the problem and got upset, asking me why I'm so mad, me responding, "If we are really going to get married, get your insecurities in check and grow up." I have stayed with a friend since, but have had texts from Amy, her friends and her mother saying I was an a-hole for this, and that Amy doesn't deserve this treatment. Ida? We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. She literally admitted to OP that there's nothing wrong with Tally, and this is based on looks. This isn't even about OP having a work wife, a potential affair, or just Tally being a bad woman, it's just about looks. And instead of letting OP talk to Tally and discuss what was happening, Amy went to his job and made her out to be a mistress. Comment 2. Your fiancée planned how she would humiliate your friend after she forced you into not inviting her to your wedding. Your fiancée is an insecure, jealous child. Why do you want to marry this person? NTA. Comment 3. Okay, so I'm totally on the side of Amy here. If your future wife has insecurities, it's up to you to make it known those insecurities are just that. The fact you got mad and called her childish is bang out of order. She's your future wife, she should come before your friends. You seriously care more about Tally than dude, you're in the wrong relationship. Update from original poster. I should have explained two things better. 1. I have made many attempts to speak to Tally privately to find out what was happening prior to contacting her BF. She brushed me off by saying she either had work to do, or that there was nothing to talk about. No one would really speak to me, so I contacted her BF as a last resort. Her BF says he is going to pass on to Tally what I said to him on the phone. The wedding is currently on hold, that is also why I'm staying with my friends. Need some distance to figure stuff out. I made the post because of all the texts. Edit 2. There is one thing I must clear up. The whole suggestion that I may have cheated on Amy with Tally. All I can ask is, can people of the opposite sex not be friends without anything untoward happening? Nothing has or ever will happen with Tally, no feelings, nothing adult, absolutely nothing. Tally is happy and in love, her boyfriend is someone I also consider a close friend. I was happy with Amy prior to this, and Tally is more like a sister to me. I find it pretty disturbing that people are even suggesting that I did something with Tally. Ask yourself this: why in God's green earth would I let and encourage Amy to meet Tally in the first place if anything had happened? That would be messed up beyond belief. Also, I don't work in an office. I have no idea where people are getting this idea from, since I never said where or what industry I work in. I work in a retail chain, nothing special. Questions: what am I planning to do about Tally? Unfortunately, due to what Amy has done, all I can really do is damage control. Of course, I am planning to explain to everyone what has happened. I do not want Tally to be going through this. She is a genuinely kind person who does not deserve any of this. I am actually on my way to speak to our boss at the moment to see what can be done. Tally's boyfriend is also saying he will speak to her on my behalf and see if he can get her to talk to me. Hopefully, I will have an update by tomorrow.